even though some people might disagree with whether or not what I'm doing is ethical, I still maintain that I think it's fine because I genuinely love all of my bones. So this is my freezer with all of my specimen, and then here I have another third of the mouse that I feed my beetles. This guy. He's a big boy. My name is Koji Liby, so I'm an artist and an oddity dealer. I do a lot of different mediums, honestly. I really love watercolor, I love oil, love graphite, I like colored pencils, but I feel like my main that I usually gravitate towards are either graphite or oils. I feel like I got really serious about art maybe around 5th grade. My first big art project or idea that I thought of was I want to draw every single one of the Pokemon in the Pokedex. So yeah, it started out there, and then I think I started drawing myself, and at the time I was really into anime, and so I was really enamored with that style, and I wanted to be able to recreate it. And at the time I was like, I want to make manga or make anime and things like that. And I've evolved since then into a sort of a different realm of art, but I think that anime and sort of these stylistic ideas kind of got me really interested in thinking I really want to improve and I want to be able to make this myself. Dude, I'm in realm question mark. It's not even a letter, I don't even know. I feel because I started out, I was really passionate about anime, and a lot of artists are when they start out, and when I was younger I was really like that, where I didn't have any interest in realism. And even now, realism, I do really like it because that's what a lot of people would identify my style as. I consider it more semi-realistic or surrealistic because it has realistic components, but I do really like having stylistic components as well. I think that shift probably started in around high school, and that's when I started getting into practicing realism, and then that sort of morphed. I feel like my stylistic anime-ish style kind of mixed with the more realism components, and that sort of has brought me to where I am now. So it's they look like this, and when it's not your own pet, it's easier to deal with, but when it is, a pet that you've known for your whole life even, it would be really hard to see them like this, because even though I don't know him, it's really sad to, see how he's gone out. As I got older and sort of experienced things more, my mentality changed, and I got new views on the world. I think it changed because I became less concerned with absorbing myself into my art and going into another realm, and more into just trying to get other people to enter my realm instead. Instead of making me feel comfortable, I wanted to make things that would make other people feel uncomfortable. Plus, if you think about I probably wouldn't, it would be nice to have a mummified paw of one of my cats, but thinking about going through this process with them, I would not want to do that. So one of the biggest inspirations in my art nowadays is, as a teenager, dealing with being trans, dealing with just having run-of-the-mill depression and anxiety. I spent a lot of years being really suicidal and to the point where I remember going to sleep at night and I couldn't look up at my ceiling fan because all I could think about was hanging myself from it. And the only reason I never did it was because I knew that if I did, the ceiling fan wouldn't hold my weight. overall, like, I'm extremely grateful for the life that we lived and for our parents and everything, and I love them. But there definitely were some challenges, especially with like coming out to them as trans. I remember I actually had to come out to them 3 or 4 times. I think it was 3 times. First time was when I was in 7th or 8th grade, and I came out to Mom. She said that she didn't want to tell Dad because he was stressed because he had been bitten by a spider the day before. He had a spider bite that was stressing him out, so she didn't want to tell him. So she never told him.
China?
So I waited another, I think maybe it was another year or 2 before I came out to her again. And then that time she told Dad, and that's when we had a big conversation, and I told him, you know, like, well, I am trans, I want to go by different pronouns, I want to go by a different name, I don't want people to see me this way anymore. And I remember that one of the first things they said was, what will people think of us as parents? And basically saying that if I'm going to be trans, people are going to think they're bad parents. And that really hurt because it was sort of a mixture of feeling like they weren't actually concerned about what I was feeling. And then it was also a mixture of feeling guilty because then I felt like I felt like I was a bad kid. Like I felt like I was a disappointment. I had told them about how I was feeling really suicidal and how I really wanted to kill myself. And Dad had said something like, because I think I had told him I go to sleep every night hoping I don't wake up. And he said, I think everyone feels that way at some point in their life. I also remember asking to go to therapy. He said he didn't believe in therapists, so he didn't want me to go to therapy. And so it was after that night that I think that was probably like the most suicidal as ever. I really felt so low that I really wanted to end it. And sometimes it really hurts to think about because the reason that I didn't was because I didn't want to hurt Mom and Dad. Like I knew that if I were to kill myself, that they would feel really guilty and it would hurt them, and I just like could not do that to them. And so sometimes it really hurts to think about because I know that they think that I was never thinking about them and that I was always thinking about myself, but I really was, you know? I always tell people like, if I could choose not to be trans, I would, because it's really hard. It's not that I have anything against being trans, it's just that there's a lot of difficulties you have to go through, and a lot of people won't accept you. And that's hard. I don't want to have to do that. It's just that I realized throughout my life that this is the only option for me because I really was so miserable. And you know, I still struggle with being depressed, but it's so much more manageable, especially now that I've like started my transition and I can actually like who I see in the mirror. And it really, really hurt that like Mom and Dad weren't exactly there for me. And Mom at least tried her best, I know, because she did make the steps to get me into therapy, and she made sure to tell me that she loved me no matter what, and I knew that. But, you know, it still always really hurt that even though she said that they would love me, it kind of always felt like they weren't really loving me. It was who they thought I was. And like I would go to sleep at night, and I remember when I was a kid that Mom would tell me like, you don't ever want to go to sleep with the covers over your head because you'll suffocate. So I would go to sleep with the covers over my head, and I would tell myself that if I died in my sleep, it would be an accident and it wouldn't be suicide. And so I think it was around that time that I was really dealing with all of that stuff that I started developing a slightly healthier relationship with death because I stopped being so scared of it. So because of that, I think I started to view death as something that was really beautiful, and I started thinking of it as like a natural process and like not something to be afraid of, and something that I honestly really admired. And I think that's really come out in my artwork nowadays, especially with like my body horror and like sort of more gory art. My intention is not to like gross people out or to creep them out. It's to most of the time put this juxtaposition of beauty and death, because death is something a lot of people view as something they fear, and they view it as ugly. You know, decomposition, there's the smell, there's the look, it makes people uncomfortable. So I really like being able to incorporate that into a scenario where they can view it from a different scope and sort of begin to maybe even have a different connection with death, even if they've never personally felt that close to death like some of us have. So I think that that's probably like the biggest way that like my art has been impacted by who I am, is just being able to take the experiences that I've had and the experiences that I am having and sort of put them out in a way where it isn't necessarily right in your face and like it's not obvious, but it makes you think about it so that you come to terms with it yourself. And through your own devices and through your own experience, all I do is put out the image that like sparks the thought. So I don't have my neighbors on Snapchat, but I'm still gonna give them a shout out anyway because they just got me a whole ass f***ing squirrel. Like, the cats will just kill shit, and anytime they just let me know, and they're like, because they don't want to deal with it, and they're like, hey, come get this f***ing squirrel.